What's happening right now is horseradish is in my hands. We just dug some horseradish. This amazing deep-rooted perennial, scientifically called Armoraceae rusticana of the Brassicaceae family, and they are honker deep roots. And we are going to prepare some horseradish. We're going to go into horseradish prep. But before we do that, discuss a little bit about, well, first of all, 3 hard frosts have hit here in the Hudson Valley of New York, which means that root digging has begun for us. This day, though, is crazy warm, which is very cooperative because when you want to process horseradish, it's best to do it outside. It has an incredibly strong fume. It releases a fume that clears our sinuses and makes our eyes water, which is part of its therapeutic value, but it's also painful if you do it inside. So let's also just mention, where are you going to find this if you're not growing it? We were lucky to gather it from our friend's wild garden. But if you can't find it, actually, let's say, where would you find it? So it's deep rooted, so you're looking for areas that have very deep, rich soil, moist soil, in full sun to part shade. Again, it's a perennial, and it's hardy in USDA zones 4 to 8. It's a native of southeastern Europe and Western Asia, but it is now found throughout the world. Again, its USDA hardiness zones are 4 to 8. It's all over the temperate zones. So when preparing, so we dig this baby, it's pretty deep digging, as you can see. We dig it. All the parts that are tender, you would use as food/medicine. This upper part here, this is called the crown up here, and this you would cut off, and any woody parts and anything that seems rotten. So we've already done that. What else to say about this? I know. If you can't find any growing in your neighborhood and you have space, I suggest that you plant some, but give it room to spread, and it is persistent, meaning that if a little bit of a root hangs out in the soil, a whole new plant will grow from that root, which can be a blessing and a curse, if you know what I mean. For me, it's a blessing, but make sure you give the horseradish the space that it needs to do its thing. So before we get into making the horseradish relish, let's talk about its medicinal properties. What's crazy good about this root? What does it offer us? We have a heating, stimulating, warming, heating, I already said, warming, circulatory, digestive, fiery plant in our midst here, and it helps to open the sinuses. It helps us to increase digestive fire. It brings on poops. What else to say about it? So we would use it in decongestants. It's a prime ingredient in fire cider, which is for another lesson. But so we have a very invigorating, stimulating root that we can use internally, and we can actually even put it on topically as a rubefacient to bring blood to the surface of the skin. So we have a food condiment that also offers all those qualities. So this is where food and medicine meet, but of course we're not going to be eating spoonfuls of the horseradish. It's going to be served in smaller amounts, like a condiment. What else to say, I know, is that horseradish is also very irritating and can be too agitating, perhaps for people with a lot of fire already or a lot of irritation in their guts. If you're dealing with, for example, a dry cough, it may make you have a more irritated and dry cough, so it's not appropriate. It would be appropriate when you have wet, phlegmy, upper respiratory conditions. Again, if you have an ulcer or you're dealing with itises inside of the digestive tract, you're probably not going to want to eat horseradish. So that's a quick therapeutic or energetic consideration around horseradish. Now let's get making it. Let's make some horseradish relish, and what you need is, well, actually this is for a pint of horseradish with fresh root. And what you're going to do is wash that root really, really well, but you do not need to peel it unless you wish to. I don't peel it. So that's 8 ounces of fresh root that goes into the food processor, and it's chopped. The root is chopped. And then we need 8 ounces of vinegar, and I'm really a fan of organic apple cider vinegar that's raw with the mother in it. And so you're just going to use 8 ounces of that, but you can choose another vinegar that you like. And we put that into the food processor. And then to this, we add 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I'm using Celtic sea salt here, and the salt will actually, I mean, it also tastes lovely in my opinion, but it also helps to preserve this preparation. So what we do now is we grind everything together. It's going to get a little noisy and a little messy. Grind it for about a minute. Got our little spatula, little rubber spatula. We're gonna scrape down the sides, and I'm gonna keep grinding it. I like mine very finely ground, so we keep going. That looks good. Okay, and now this goes into a, by the way, before I forget, I want to mention that the 8 ounces of horseradish that you used is by weight, not volume. So it's 1 part by weight horseradish root to 1 part vinegar liquid volume. Okay, and now we put this into our jar, a good glass jar with a tight fitting lid you want to have, and this will get stored in the fridge. Just so you know, you're not going to leave this out. It will last a good long time, or at least that's my experience with what I've made in the past. And let's clean that rim off, cap it, and now we've got beautiful horseradish, super potent food/medicine right here. Again, keep that in the refrigerator, and happy horseradish making. And if you've enjoyed this and you would like more, check out my online course, Wild Food Health Boosters and Herbal Remedies, at wildfoodhealthboosters.com. See you next time.